Hey guys, so here's part 2 of the 8.3 day 1 notes. We are going to basically says which theorem or reason can be used to show that the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Now, when we went through all of those properties, you might notice that, hey, those theorems are probably different numbers than the theorems that we saw in 8.2. And as I said before, the reason being is that in 8.2, we were given that quadrilateral is a parallelogram, and we are just listing out the properties. This time we are kind of reversing it. So we have the properties, but we have to use that to show that this is a parallelogram. So that's why you might see different numbers for the theorems. It's just because we are reversing, and of course those are not going to be the same things as the last theorems in 8.2. Okay, so let's look at number 1. So here, always look at what the picture is presenting you. So you can't add additional information. You can only use what they give to you on the picture. So notice we are dealing with diagonals, okay? And really there's only one theorem that talks about diagonals. So we notice here, we see a 6 and a 6. So remember when you have the two equal parts, they are congruent, and we have 9 and 9. So notice that the diagonals bisect each other. So if we go back to what theorem that was, we're going to list that as 8.10. Okay, so all you got to put is 8.10. That's it. Okay, let's look at number 2. So here, notice that we have tick marks. Remember, the tick marks represent that those sides are congruent. So we have one pair of opposite sides congruent, but notice then the other opposite sides. We have 26 and 26. Well, since they are the same measurement, we can also say that they are congruent. So notice that for our sides, okay, that the opposite sides are congruent, okay? So we go back to which theorem this represents, and going back to our chart here, it's going to be 8.7, that both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. So we just put 8.7. Okay, go ahead and do number 3 and 4 for me. So pause the video and do those two problems. Okay, let's see what you got here. So for number 3, notice we are dealing with angles, okay? So we see these markings. Remember, those markings represent that those opposite angles are congruent. And if we look at the other opposite angles, they are the same measurement. And anytime we have the same measurement, they are also congruent. So we can say opposite angles are congruent. So let's go back to see which theorem that is. So it says show both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. That is 8.8. So we're going to put that there. Okay, number 4. Notice we have arrows on our opposite sides. So we're dealing with just sides here, okay? Remember, the arrows represent that those sides are parallel. Now also notice that those sides have the same measurement. Anytime it's the same measurement, that also means they are congruent. So we have one pair of opposite sides that are both congruent and parallel. So let's figure out what theorem that was on our chart. So that looks like that was 8.9, show one pair of opposite sides are congruent and parallel. There we go. Now, make sure on your homework, when you come to these type of problems, all you have to do is either put like the theorem, so just the numbers. So either you will put definition, then you will put either 8.7, 8.8, 8.9, or 8.10, okay? So you will just put the number, or you'll just put definition for these problems. So just remember that, okay? Okay. Make sure you watch the third part of these videos here.